That's all I did. Just like Bert and Ernie last time around.
I did that with being 4.6.
4.6 where?
For the average.
Just check your data points then.
Okay.
Chances are one guy keyed in wrong.
So you put just like how they are negative 14, negative 38, negative 1.
Just in one big line. Yeah, chances are something got keyed in wrong. And hopefully you guys will catch me. If I get displays that look different than yours, you'll tell me. Because that means I keyed something in wrong. That's the beauty of having everybody doing the same thing. Yeah, deal.
I want the positive numbers too on the list, because I got different answers.
Oh, I want them all on the list. I want that 0. I want the positives. All that data is good. I want it all. Yes.
You want us to enter like the negatives like negatives too?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay, like, okay.
Yeah, because if we throw the negative away, then it looks like they gain that weight.
Well, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yes. Good? Excellent. Now, let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at it. The easy way to get to the graphs, on these things, press the second y equals. So press the second function button, then press your y equals editor. Those of you guys that are Excel whizzes, you can ignore the TI, use everything in Excel if you want to. I like using the TI because we have it in class. We can all do it together if you have your TI with you. So second y equals takes you to your plot menu. Your plot menu. You got 3 plots you can turn on at the same time in the TI. We will never turn on more than 2 at once in the TI. It gets too much of a headache past 2. Press enter to select the first one. Now we're on this screen right here. Got our plots. Start by turning it. Oh, Rob, go ahead.
Can we go back? How to get there?
Second y equals. Second y equals takes you here. Let me kill the light too, make it a little bit more. There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. That damn beautiful sun shining too brightly.
I can't see
That's too
my
dark.
Oh, damn it. Okay. Can't see the calculator. Okay, sorry. I switch. I'm just gonna stop. How's that? Is that okay?
Yeah.
That's decent. Caleb,
Putting all the numbers right and it's still getting confused.
then you did put them in right. But you didn't. that's the beautiful thing. It's a law of logic. If you have the exact same numbers as us, and you ran the exact same command, you have to get the same numbers. Hold the thought. If you're still not getting them right, Caleb, we'll take a break here at 5. We'll take a look and we'll get you all caught up. So now we're here. Press number 1 or press enter to select plot 1. Now you should have a screen like this. So what you want to do is, you want to turn it on, in case it isn't, by pressing enter. Press enter to turn it on, right there, yes. Now you've got a type that you have to choose from, your type. You've got 6 different types you can choose from. The only one I want to talk about right now is a histogram, which is that one right there. So you arrow down to it, arrow over to it, and press enter. So now your plot is on. You're on the histogram spot. Now you gotta tell it where your data is. It's still looking, for me, it's looking at L3. That's what I was messing with in 244 earlier today. But our data isn't there. Our data is in my data is in L1. Is that where your guys' data is too? So we gotta tell it that. We gotta tell it L1. So we scroll down, press second 1. Second 1. If you look above the number 1 on your keypad of your calculator, it's got L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, and L6 above the numbers 1 through 6. That's how you list, that's how you actually talk about the names of the lists that your data is in with your TI. You press the second function button, and then one of those numbers. This guy right here, freak, what do you think that stands for? Frequency. And if you have raw data, that stays on 1. That means count every one of those data points exactly 1 time. That'll change when we have grouped data, which we're going to have today too. But right now we only have a frequency of 1. We're happy with that frequency of 1. The swim type back there. Good so far? So we've got it turned on. It's picked. The histogram is picked. L1 is your data. Frequency is set to 1. Yes? Okay. Everybody press second mode. This puts you back out to your home screen. I got to do one thing to make me catch up to you guys. Okay, now you're back on your home screen. The easiest way to see your graph is to press the zoom button. The easiest way to see your graph is to press your zoom button. I don't know if we did this in 105 or not. I don't think we did. We didn't make a whole lot of graphs in 105. These are the presets. You probably learned about these in Math 95 or something like that, Math 111. But I doubt very much you use the one that's at number 9. It's called Zoom Stat. What it does is it looks at your data in your list and it picks the X mins and X maxes and Y mins and Y maxes based on your data. So I think it's kind of slick. I always start there. So when you press Zoom and 9, it'll automatically graph your data for you in what it decides is a good window. And there's your data. It's kind of slick. It is kind of slick. I have to agree. It is kind of slick. It's neat. It's also very limited. We'll come back to why it's limited momentarily. But there's your data. Now, what pisses me off about the TI, it doesn't give you labels. Like, if you had to describe that data, what would you say?
There's more negative than positive.
There's more negative than positive. Excellent. That's why I like this picture. We get to see our, if you will, 77-33% or 77-23%. Very nice. How else would you describe it? More negative than positive? Roughly bell-shaped? Symmetric unimotor, roughly bell-shaped? Good! Now, suppose you hadn't just calculated the averages. Because very often when you're reading research journals, they'll give you the graph first. And you have to extrapolate the averages off, just like we did with the graphs last week. If you had to know where the average was here, ready? Pick up my hand. Where are the cookies balanced? Cookies balanced where? Right about here? No? I'll put some, so I have one guess here. Where's another? Further to the right?
Yeah, further to the right.
Right here? Good, I like that, very good, very good. Which one is closer to the true average of negative 14.7? This is where it gets annoying. We don't know what the labels are. See these tick marks? It would be nice if you know what those tick marks were, yes? I don't know what those tick marks are. So, although I like going Zoom 9 to get here, I then like to mess with the graph a little bit. I like to mess with it and change the scales. Let me show you why. Let me show you why I do this. Everybody press the trace button on your TI. The trace button, I think, is one of the only buttons you haven't pushed yet today. Top row, almost all the way to graph. Just press trace. Please, Sarah.
I'm saying error invalid div.
Make sure you're pointing it towards where your data is. So when you were setting up your screen right here,
Yeah.
when it says X list, you have L1 in there.
Yeah.
And that's where your data is. What does your frequency say?
1. Mine is the exact same.
Let me see. That's weird, because if it's looking L11, yep. Oh, your L2 is on as well.
Oh.
Thank you for this. I'm gonna mention that real quick. So, friends, what Sarah just did was everything correct, except she was still getting an error. And the reason she was getting an error was she also had a plot 2 turned on, and it was trying to graph data that wasn't there anymore. So if you ever get an error like she got, that was a dim error, D-I-M, go check to make sure all your plots are turned off except the one you're working with. And make sure that one is looking at the right place. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for bringing that up. The TI is not very smart in that respect. It doesn't do a very good job of keeping track of where its data is. You have to do that for it. So, cool? All right. So anyway, back to the graph. We now press the trace button. Zoom 9. Yeah, there we go. Now, when you press the trace button, I call him the spider. He pops up. And what he tells you is, he gives you a min and a max. The min and the max are the left and right boundaries of this bar right here. So the minimum number here is negative 58. Gesundheit. And the maximum bar is negative 44.833333 repeating. Seems like a strange number, doesn't it? Seems like a pretty strange number to have a bar. This n equals 1. I wish you would say f equals 1. It means there's one data point in that bar. There's one data point in that bar. If you then arrow over to the right by 1, the next bar goes from negative 44.833333 up to negative 31.666666, and there are 3 data points in that bar. So what you've done by grouping the data like this is you've lost that individualness of the data points, but you've gained the shape, which I think is a fair trade-off, honestly. What frustrates me is it's freaking numbers. They're dumb, yeah? I think they're dumb. They're kind of dumb. Now the reason the TI does this, the TI will always do it this way. It'll take your data and it will try to put 7 spaces on your horizontal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why? because somebody at TI in 1984 decided that was the way to go, and they haven't changed it since. So what I like to do is, I like to say, all right, press the window button. You can mess with this if you want to. You can mess with that in the window screen. So you see this window right here? It says X mid is negative 58. Now why did it pick, why did it pick negative 58? Do you think? That's your lowest data point, was negative 5. The high end on this side, right? The low end, I guess. I like to make that number a more logical number, like negative 60 maybe. I'm going to change that to negative 60. The X max is 34.1666666, which roughly corresponds, I'm guessing, close to one of the max data points-ish. I'm going to make that a logical data point too. I'm going to make that, what do you say, 40? Just to round off to a nice even number, say for example.
What's that number from?
The data. It looks at your data.
What's the?
Oh, the 31 point.
How'd you get the X max? I don't see where that comes from.
How did it get it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Its brain is programmed to do it a certain
What's it
way.
calculating to come up with that number?
I don't know. That's why I usually override it. What I do is I get zoom 9 to kind of get me close, and then I start messing with it to make my own graph.
Oh. Okay.
That's all I'm saying, Kelly. I don't know where that X max calculation comes from, other than the fact that it splits in 7 ways. Don't focus on that too much. It's not important. What's important is being able to put it into a logical place for you to look at. You see this X scale? 13.1666. That's how wide each of their bars were. That's why they were such weird numbers. Let's make them different numbers, shall we? How about 5 or 10? What do you guys want to do? 5 or 10? Your call. Now let's do them both. What the hell? Let's do them both. Let's start with 5. Change it to 5 first. Now just press graph. Just press the graph button. That's what your histogram would look like, with bars of width 5. Fair? Now press your window button again and change the X scale to 10. Predict how it's going to look in your mind. Once you have an idea, press graph again. Is that roughly what it was in your mind? When you make the bars wider, there are fewer of them, because they contain more data per bar. When you make the bars narrower, there are more of them and they have less data per bar. You can get ridiculous with this, can't you? You can get pretty silly. You can make the bars like half a unit wide. Actually, you can on a TI. It gives you an error. Which one do you guys like better? Do you like the 10 or the 5s? You like 1? Or you like 5? Let's take a vote. 5. 10. Ooh, 10's have it. We'll leave it at 10. It's okay. Hey, it's up to you guys. I want to have us use one graph we're all talking about for the next few moments. Are we still okay with where our averages are? With where we picked our averages? Yeah, oh good. Why are you saying that? Because now you know. What's that number right there? 5. That's 10. Remember we decided to make them 10? This is 0, clearly. That's the y-axis. That's 10. This is 20. This is 30. This is negative 10, yeah? This is negative 20. That's almost spot on, isn't it? Negative 14.7. That's like negative 15. That's about halfway between negative 10 and negative 20. Not bad. This isn't bad either, friends. Especially because we shifted a little bit when we changed the X and mix and X max and X min. That's both together, the X mix. When we changed it, we did shift the graph a little bit. Here's negative 30. Here's negative 40. Here's negative 50. Nice. Now, unfortunately, you can't draw. Well, I guess you can draw on your TIs. It'd be very small. But that's the problem. The TI doesn't have a logical way of labeling axes. It also doesn't have a logical max label this way. See this right here? What's that? Well, hell if I know. Go back and look at it. It is, Y scale is at 5. It's said to be 5, which means on that graph, this is 5, and that's 10. You can change that if you want to as well. You can change those to be something different. Do you want to leave it the way it is or change it? Change it to? 1. I love that idea. Let's make the Y max something more logical. 14.04. Why don't we change it to 15? There we go. Love it. It's like some smidge. There we go. Beautiful. Now we have counts. What Excel, and again, Excel is a much better histogram grapher than the TI is. You can then put numbers on the top of each if you want to. What's that? That's 4. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? What's this one here? 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. 1 and 1. See if that adds up 35. 5, 15, 26, 33, 34, 35, boom. Either I added correctly or I added wrongly enough to cancel each other out. Good. So that was a lot. We did a lot right there, yes? The big thing is, I like Zoom 9 to get me close, and then I like messing with it manually to kind of break it down into my own kind of look. The TI, some of you might be perfectly happy with Zoom 9. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with that whatsoever. Please don't read too much into the fact that I just finagled with it. But I like getting to this point. I like getting to the point where the numbers are more logical on the horizontal axis. Then we can chit-chat about them more. So what I want to do now is take 5, return some stuff to you guys, and I want to come back and see how these two live on this graph. I want to see how these two live on this graph. And Fitztail is TI. What the hell's going on with that thing? Let's find out.
And mine.
And yours. Well, let's